Boom. Regis Prograis and Devin Haney have brought the boxing audience back to their feet, only 1 week removed from Ryan Garcia regaining his boxing cachet. So today we're going to get into that, but I'm also proud to announce that boxing has a new home, and we will get directly into where is it that boxing will be laying their head for the future starting in 2024. This is a good thing, and it's also an opportunity for you guys who are operating gyms, and whether it's new gyms or you've been operating for a long time, this is your opportunity. Yeah, this is your opportunity now to take what you're doing in your program and get those guys into the bright lights and give them the opportunity, and also make sure that you are able to now leave you a legacy piece, because now we got a profound leader in the industry in broadcasting on board with the sport. And so I can't wait to get into that. That is so much to dive into. But the biggest thing I got to do is first, before I get started, is introduce myself and my sponsors. My name is Eric A. Bradley. For those of you who've never watched this channel, shame on you. This is the Fight Show, and we do it on every Thursday. And what we do is break the fight world down and give it to you round by round. This week, I like to highlight our sponsor, which is Jab Juice Social Media, bringing light onto the combat world like never before, and making sure that they have the voice and people get to know them, and we magnify their names and their brands, and giving them every opportunity to show why they are relevant in today's age of social media and artificial intelligence. So that's what we do. We shine the light. So special shouts out to them for being the sponsors of this broadcast. But when we get back to this thing with Devin Haney and Regis Prograis, this is just they, to say the least, I don't think they really like each other that much. But special shouts out to you all for tuning in and coming on board as we get into these type things. Now, we were going to have one of our co-host who comes on all the time, Shane Mosley, who fought on the Zone last week. He's currently at is Disneyland, so he won his fight, so he gets to go play. So he's with his family right now. But at the same time, we want to make sure that we magnify the athletes and keep them in front of you, and because you guys you support them, and I ask you that you step your game up and support them even more moving forward, because these opportunities in boxing don't come around every day. These networks want us to prove ourselves. So if you are really into boxing and you're a really diehard fan, or if you're in the sport, you got to double down and learn to magnify this sport so that it can get its shine and the athletes can get their just due, because it's all about putting asses in seats. Now, this fight, I'm going to break it down because I know a lot of you are into the breakdowns of the boxing game. And when you see these guys match up, as I get into this, and then I will share with you the home that boxing has finally landed, and get into a little bit of what it means to get the kind of relationship that we actually got. And, you know, it's just, as I was watching the Nationals yesterday, there were several different standout athletes. But when you start to see how the professional prize fighting game is, you want to make sure that these young men truly have the right opportunities to get in front of that, those lights, and be able to perform. And there were some kids that had some absolute skills. I'm talking real Sugar Ray level stuff. So I think I'm going to do some posting. I'm gonna post a couple of the names so you guys can look them up. But I know these kids' social media, definitely has to be right. But man, I mean, I was really impressed. I'm talking kids that were like 8, 9 years old. The skill set that these kids possess. I saw them being able to maneuver arms and understand placement and range and distance. And we're talking about 9 year old, 10 year olds. It was special. It was very special. And as they moved up, you couldn't tell, what age brackets they were basically because everybody was good. So if you got a boxing program, I'm telling you, you better get those kids right because when you start to get to those national levels, those kids are super, man. But this Regis Pro Grace fight, and Devin Haney, I just think they've had bad blood, basically because once you get to a point in your boxing career that you have kind of relinquished, who you are to the sport. Everybody knows that Devin Haney is a boxer, pure boxer. He got some dog in him because he was tested. Yeah, I gotta give him that. He was tested against Lomachenko. He was tested against Linares. Everybody else, he kind of beat him up. But these guys, they tested him. Cambosis, he showed a valiant effort in the first fight. But when you look at Devin Haney, if you're talking about betting on this fight, here's the ordeal. When you got a boxer that got fast hands and power. See, this is where a slick fighter like Devin Haney will have a lot of problems because he's not conventional. The level of skill that Prograis will bring isn't about a whole lot of footwork. It's about knowing how to hit you very hard, very fast, without you understanding where the punch is coming from. There are times, and I think that sometimes slick fighters forget that fighters can figure them out. You can go back to Ika Beabuche, Chris Bird. Ika Beabuche was a savage. And Chris thought what he always thought. He thought I can make this guy look stupid. I can make him miss. I can make him pay. But Ika Beabuche understood the science. If you go back and look at Ika Beabuche, he actually looks just like Francis Ngannou. The difference is he's a pure boxer, and Francis Ngannou is a MMA artist and a boxer now. But when you match those styles up, I'm gonna tell you something that you better think about. Just because a guy is a puncher, there's a difference in the way certain punchers operate. Because if Regis Prograis really had good footwork, he wouldn't be just a puncher, a knockout artist. Because the way he uses his hands, he throws high and low. Any fighter that can throw hooks high and low with speed and accuracy, and then pillar you with shots straight down the pipe, that's the kind of that's the kind of fighter you got to look out for. He's not the typical power puncher. You're not looking at the old school. What's his name? Not Burt Cooper. Burt Cooper was one, but he fought Muhammad Ali and Larry Holmes. And he was a real heavy duty puncher. And Ernie Shavers, you can see him coming. He's methodical. George Foreman of the 80s, 70s. See, those guys were methodical heavy punchers. This dude ain't that. He's like Tank Davis. He hitting you with smoke, but it's not conventional. Those punches are coming fast and they're hard to defend. And if you don't know what you're doing on defense, you're going to get clipped. I don't think Devin will handle him like he thinks he's going to handle him because it's hard to deal with that kind of speed. It's hard to deal with that kind of reflex. And this kid really has good offensive IQs. He just lacked his footwork. But I don't know if you are boxing against a guy like this that you go in there sleeping thinking, I got this. I'm gonna go in here and bring the smoke to him. Um, what you got here? Yeah, up or out was a problem. Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. I see. Absolutely, he was a problem, but it sets us up for what's coming up with these two guys. So I don't know who you think has the upper hand, but what I always do is my skill set is bringing you front and center and kind of laying out the cards so it's very clear to you how to look at these kind of fights. And when you look at these guys bump heads, you have to be really careful if you're putting money down or if you're picking on any using any betting line. And I say that because it's a different kind of fight. It's not typical style versus style. Prograis already knows, and he's been at that 140 mark. That's where he's always fought. When you come up that weight class, and that guy has really been there, and he's a heavy puncher. It's just like when Charlo went up to and fought Canelo. He was the mover, but he couldn't outbox the power puncher. And you got to just be careful when a guy can hit hard and fast and he's been the bigger guy. It's just not the same thing. So y'all pay attention to these first 6 7 rounds because that's where you'll see Devin Haney getting off. But as that fight slows down and that eighth, ninth, 10th starts to land, you'll understand when a fast puncher starts to throw fast without throwing reckless in the late rounds and he has more power, you're dealing with something different then. Now, Lomachenko can fight. He can box. He's a purist. His footwork is second to none. The difference is Prograis actually knocks guys out, and Lomachenko kind of wears you out. He breaks you down, and then he systematically knocks you out. Get what I'm saying? So there's a little difference. Linares, same thing. He chops you down, he outboxes you. It's just two different types of guys with heavy feet, one guy with heavy punches, but he still has optimal punch speed and he's built really different. Long torso, short alligator arms, super quick. You can't sleep on a cat like that. So if you ever got a fighter and you're trying to match them up against a boxer and your fighter has good hand speed, then your focus is to punch him right between that collarbone. Pop, 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 pop. Do not try to go for his head because once that joker slow down, that's when you can start popping their head. But make them worry about his body. And that's what's going to make that thing, if the tides of that fight, that's when that the tide of that fight starts to turn. But you gotta have experiences. And when you got experiences, you understand how to manage that fight, how to dictate that fight, and how to strategize for that fight, the game plan of that fight. The keys is knowing how to do that. And I just don't know if Devin Haney and them have really paid close attention to it, even though he's a purist. He's the purest boxer today, right now. He knows how to fight on the inside if he got to. He knows how to fight in the mid range if he got to. And he knows how to box on the outside of the parameters, and he knows how to utilize the ring. So you can't sleep on that. But this is just a little different. So as we move into that and into, let me know who you think going to win in the comment boxes and make sure you let me know why. I like reading to see what you guys are talking about. But now we're on to the topic at hand. Boxing has been adopted now, guys. And it didn't take a very long time because it was a hell of an opportunity. But it's also a hell of an opportunity for you coaches. If you're running these programs and you got fighters, this is the opportunity of a lifetime. There won't be another opportunity so much like this that you'll get to taste, pure. Everybody's on the same page because this is a new thing for you. Let me get my man in here and bring it up. There you go.
What up?
What's
What
up?
up? What up? How's
You know what it
everybody doing?
man, it's all good. It's all good, brother. How you feeling today? You out here? Where
I'm
you at?
I'm in St. Louis, man. My daughter's graduating from the master's program here at St. Louis University, summa cum laude. And for you guys that don't
What?
know what that means, that she has the highest GPA of the graduating class.
Oh, proud dad. Proud dad.
Yeah,
Congratulations
yeah,
to her for stepping on the gas when it counted most. The
yes,
championship
sir.
rounds. That's what's up. That's what's up. Man, wow. How proud are you, dude?
Oh man, I'm so proud. Like I got Amani, is the oldest, and she's summa cum laude, graduating in
Yeah.
finance and everything. So the story is that Amani is really my niece. My brother died in 2009 before the Jeff Lacey fight of mine,
Oh, sorry to
and
hear.
he left me a daughter, an extra daughter, and
Yeah.
we love her to death, and
Wow.
I can't be more happier, definitely.
Wow.
And then
That
yeah, that's deep. But then I have a son that is in medical school, Donovan Xavier. He just passed his first quarter of finals this week with all A's. So
what?
that's I have my middle daughter, Liberty Simone. She's a
Yeah.
state worker for the state of California. And then we got the last of the Mohicans, Ivory Grace Griffin, who birthday was on the 5th. She turned 17. So
You've been
she's
busy.
a junior going into a senior. Yeah, been busy.
That's crazy. You've been at it. Yo, you got the squad on blast right now. Well, that's
Yeah.
good, man. I can't even imagine what you feeling. I mean, you did a good job, bro, and was a champ. So, you had your whole you ain't waste no time here on the green planet. Congratulations on that,
Amen.
brother. I was just talking about I was about to just get into I just finished talking about Prograis and Haney and the matchup. But what I was going to ask you, just from your experience and understanding these styles, which I said it's going to be a little bit different because you're not walking in there against a puncher who's like George Foreman in the 70s. This dude's hands is fast. He got the funny bill with the long torso and the alligator arms, or he got them fast hands. I was
Yeah.
like, it's gonna be different for Devin in the ninth, 10th, 11th round. You got to deal with that. What is your take on this fight, bro?
My take is that Regis is really going above and beyond to really fine tune his skill and harness it for this fight. He knows that it's probably the biggest fight of his life. He's been in some real big
Yeah.
showdowns in his career, man. And he's never ducked anybody and took on a lot of live. I won't say
Yeah,
opponents,
dog.
but live competitions. Even going into the backyard over there in Taylor's backyard. And that he didn't have to do that. Um,
Yeah, he been having to try to go get work. Yeah,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I think yeah,
Yeah,
but this is
those are
real.
the things that set him apart with Devin Haney. I think Devin, of course, going to Australia and winning. He made history. Being the undisputed champion and everything. But
Yes, he did.
yeah, this is going to be a great fight. I would say that talent wise, if Devin has the right fight plan, that he should be able to use his athletic attributes and get away. But
Yeah,
it's not going to be that easy because if Regis
no,
corrects one flaw, which is cutting the ring, then it's going to be a long night for
yeah,
Devin.
it's gonna be tough. I just think people they don't realize when it comes down to it, that funny, like I said, it's not funny like funny looking, but for a fighter, he has the kind of build, and it's difficult to deal with if you give him space to work because he does have such fast hands and reflexes And when you're fighting somebody like George Kambosos didn't have that kind of power, neither did Lomachenko. Lomachenko and those guys, they break guys down. But when you fight somebody like Prograis who got hands, and I say he can move, he can throw them things. Pop, pop, pop. I mean, from A to B, his punch speed is just much different, and his just the style that he fights in is tricky.
Mm,
And you do
yeah.
need rounds to figure that guy out. Once you get to mid range and on the inside with a guy like that, it's a lot of clipping going on with those kind of
Mm,
guys. So I look
mm,
at guys. You don't have to throw a punch. I look at your anatomy. I'm like, yeah,
yeah.
okay. So you got to pay attention. Like I was just telling everybody here on the page about these young amateurs that was in the nationals and they fighting tonight too. But last night was night 3. Man, I'm talking about you saw Sugar Ray Leonard, you saw Pretty Boy Floyd. I
Very good
mean,
class. Yeah.
whoo! I'm
Yeah.
talking
Very good
really
class.
seasoned amateur
Uh-huh.
killers. And
Yeah.
I'm telling these coaches, y'all better have your fighters right because these boys are not playing. I said it's 7 levels to amateur boxing, 7 levels. And I broke it all down yesterday on the feed. And then I put it in my subscriber hub on Instagram. And I'm gonna do it, put it, but these guys, they do not understand when I say it's levels to this game. And I got one coming out telling people it's levels, meaning you always got to get better, even when you got the strap. And when you got the
Yes.
strap, people can watch you for longer because you're the target. And over one fight, you got a hole. Then another fight, there's a glitch. Then there's another fight, there's a glitch. You might fix a glitch here, but it's always something else open when you fix something else. There's no such thing as a perfect fighter. And you always will open something up when you fix a hole. And I'm telling you, you got to understand levels is how much data do they have on you? Some
Mm.
fighters win because they got the data. You go back to Gene Tunney when he fought Jack Dempsey,
Oh, great fighter.
drops his hands. You go back
Yeah.
to Smack Smelling when he fought Joe Lewis, data. He drops his jab when he brings it
Mm.
back. I'm gonna counter
Yeah.
him with the right hand. You know what I'm saying? All of
Yeah.
these different little things, these guys were champions. And when they got that moment to be exposed, they got exposed. And it wasn't because, the guys were better. They just had data. And when you become champion, people got more data on you. That's why you don't see a bunch of
Yeah.
repeat Super Bowl winners in the NFL. I've been in
Yeah.
those I've been in those war rooms with
Yeah.
strategizing, man. You got it's different. So you
Look what
taking
look
who
what
in this
happened
fight?
look what happened to Josh Purdy and my man the quarterbacks for
Oh my gosh. Hurts.
the
Hurt
yeah,
Philly.
people downloading that data, man. They you only
That
get,
data.
hey, when you
That
come on the
data.
scene, nobody has your sample is small, so they can't get it. But getting back to boxing, they're all
Yeah.
creatures of habit, right? So
Yeah.
if you can really tap into a person's habits, especially like someone like with Joe Lewis and Max Smelling dropping that hand or something like that,
Yeah.
that's lethal.
Yeah.
Like a deadly thing that could synapse everything
Yeah.
that worked for in one moment.
Yeah.
I think that you hit it right on the nose without even realizing it. You compared Regis Prograis to alligator, and what does the alligator do? They're very quick in small spaces, right? And then
Yeah.
also they take you into deep water and they do what? They gator roll you, right? So I think if he does those things, that's the key to victory for him. And then
Yeah.
on the other end of it, with Devin Haney, he has to do what he does. He has to be athletic. He has to be quick. He has to fight in spots, and he has to. And hopefully by now he's learned how to hold. I think that a lot of people don't know how to hold these days, and that's a very good benefit, especially if you're going to be moving as much as Devin Haney moves. You can't, fight a guy like that
Yeah. You're right.
run without getting tired, or I shouldn't say run. You can't box and move without being tired. You know,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
and that's really what it boils down to. The analogy that you gave of an alligator, it's like wrestling alligators is what's gonna happen at this. You know, he's wrestling the alligator, and it's all gonna come down to if he has the attrition to survive.
Yeah. It's gonna be different. And I'm gonna tell you another thing. You know, I just heard Devin. I tell people it's only three reasons why fighters lose fight. You're gonna be able to relate to this. But number one, incompetency, whether that's skill deficiency or a lack of competency in the corner, knowing and understanding how to make adjustments in the fight. But number two, lifestyle, wanting to
Mm,
be a bigger guy, lifting weights, eating too much, lifestyle
mm,
with partying, all of those
mm,
little things conjured together that will do one thing. It will set you up for losing. And I noticed Devin has really gotten into heavy, doing a lot of weight training, a lot of plyometric, a lot of heavy duty developing muscle. And he said, well, I'm growing into my frame. I'm growing. It's like, nah, you're adding. Now that's fine. Just say, for
mm,
instance, if you're like 6'1", but wouldn't you like to always have the physical advantage in boxing so you will be stronger? Like the
mm,
older you get, you'll get stronger anyway. So why do
mm.
you actually want to move up? Is the money going to be more? You got to think about,
Why haven't we learned from Adrian Broner? You know, like, and who, like, no disrespect to my guy Adrian Broner, because he was a great champion. You know what
he's
I'm
a
saying?
good dude. Yeah,
World champion, four different weight divisions, right?
yeah.
That I mean, and here's the thing about that, and I'll get off of him after this. That was without maxing out his potential.
Never
So
maxed out his
imagine what he would
potential.
have done had he
Zab
maxed out his
Judah too.
potential. Yeah, 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 yeah. So
Yeah,
with
Zab never maxed out his potential. Zab was so good. I mean, he probably don't know how good he really could be. He filled it, but he didn't know what that took to get that all the way mastered
Zab
because
was
he was
so
just
good.
woo.
Zab was so good that he was the guy that could literally like fall off the top down, fall off the top ladder, right?
Yeah,
Decide that he wanted to be champion again and then go whip you.
yeah, yeah,
That's how good Zab was. When the worst thing you could ever do is have a focused Zab Judah. And I feel like how you said, you're Johnny on the spot tonight.
yeah,
um Devin Haney has been, bulking up. He has been, his lifestyle has been taken over, you know what I'm saying? He has been partying, and a lot of guys, like I tell people all the time, um boxing is something where you have to live. If I'm doing it because my life is on the line, I'm living clean doing my whole career. But at least you have to live clean for segments. You understand what I'm saying? Like you have to live
yeah,
clean for those 10 weeks, those 12 weeks, those 8 weeks, right? And I know every boxer doesn't do that, and some of them are great fighters that don't do it, right? But at the same time, you can't put it in social media. We've seen Devin Haney
mhm,
partying and being quote unquote under an influence without saying so, but just acting very peculiar. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
So with that being
Earl
said,
Spence.
A guy like Regis is doing his favorite Clubber Lane. He's in the trenches looking, lurking,
Yeah,
going, oh,
yeah,
okay, I see chinks in this guy's armor. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. You're
What did he
right.
say in his interview today? I turned off my phone. I don't talk to anybody. I'm locked in. And now you go to Devin Haney's camp. What is he doing? Oh man, I'm out here. I'm doing the parade
He's a
tour.
star.
Yeah, yeah.
He's a
I'm at
star. I
home
saw
right
him
now.
on Steve.
I'm in the Bay. I got to
Yeah,
go over here and holler at this person, that person. So we're gonna
yeah.
see.
Their lifestyle is tempting. And when you just to add on to what you're saying, and all of you guys need to pay attention to this because I'm gonna tell you something for real. This is not an actual walkthrough. This could be that page that turns in boxing that proves a point. It doesn't matter what you think you're able to control. enough of those bad habits accumulate. And number two, on the three reasons why fighters lose all fight, there's never been a fight lost, that these three things did not apply. And so when you're getting too big and then you're taking this guy as if you're just going to go up there and take his belt or claim status, when you got all of this work down here to get, but you want to go up here and you want to keep on just piling on this size, and yeah, you big enough to hold it, but why would you do training that way? Because if I'm coaching a guy and I'm saying we're gonna become a trillionaire in 135 because it's one mega fight after the next. We take a mandatory every once in a while, but you can build a legacy being bigger, being stronger. Those guys are going to grow out the weight class. And then you got even smaller big puppies coming up that got big names the same way that uh, our guy Bernard Hopkins did. De La Hoya, Trinidad, just knocking them off, left the one
Mm-hmm.
after the next. He was trying to get in there and get that work with Shane. All of these fights, but it's a system. So Bernard Hopkins, a legend because he took the right route after losing his very first professional fight out of prison. Roy Jones said, "Man, you need to go down there and beat up these little guys, build up that thing and get that money. Let them build the brands and names, and you just beat them up." And
Mm.
that's what he did. That's a business model.
Yeah.
And Bernard Hopkins is sitting on Easy Street now. He done got that bag, part of a promotional company, gonna feed his family for the rest of his life, his kids and his grandkids, because he understood the bigger plan. Devin Haney is falling into that thing,
He
you
getting
know.
that disease. You know what that
Yeah,
disease is, right?
yeah. And look,
Famous.
Coach Harabber said to us, he said, and Devin Haney got a hard jab, really good right hand, and a jab. He was there in Australia. He went to the fight. So he got the saw, and he was one of my coaches in the school. And he understands what he's seeing. Now he's no fan. He knows what he's seeing. And people keep saying Devin can't hit. I'm saying any man that punch like for a career can
It
hit.
only
It's
takes it
just,
only takes 7 pounds.
but you know what? It's because guys also know where to not tangle with you at. They know I'm not gonna let him knock me out. He ain't got no real knockout. He ain't got no reputation to knock out. I'm just not gonna engage because he outboxing you so much, man. The last thing you want to do is also get knocked out.
Yeah.
So yeah, he got to deal with those kind of things too. Because I don't seen him touch some guys, but I also know what he's doing wrong with his
Yeah.
punches.
Yeah.
I
His feet
know.
aren't settled. His feet aren't settled. You got to,
Yeah, yeah,
very much like Rocky Marciano. At some point in time, all the great punchers over the period of the sweet science, when you throw, like Marvin Starlin told me once before, I said, "Hey, if you could give me any advice, what would you say?" He goes, "Remember, when you're punching, it's not where you are when you start, is where you are when you end up." And I was like,
yeah,
boom,
yeah,
because it ain't
yeah,
how you get there, is what he was saying. But once you get
yeah,
there, your feet are settled, your base is equalized, and you plant, and then you turn on that shot, you got him.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You're right. That's see, those are things though. You got to be in the game, and then people don't really understand how much different boxing is conceptually opposed to reality. And we got my man Chris Pike said he got Prograis, and he said he's gonna be better prepared. I mean, you can see the writing in the sky if you're looking. You
Yeah.
do know Devin is no slouch. Devin is going to. He's a guy. I just do realize even Sugar Ray Leonard knew when not to take a fight. He just, I ain't gonna fight Hagler right now. He
Yeah.
just knew. He just understood what he's willing to do, what he's
Hmm.
willing to go through.
Mhm.
hurdles, and then you just have that intuition. No one
Yeah,
else has it when it's time to take that fight and when it's
yeah.
time to come off of that ego. Because one of the things that's coming out that I did a reel about was EQ and humility. I see no humility. Like humility is just gone. Grace is gone. And those are your biggest weapons. So a lot of you guys, coaches, I see all these coaches, they act, I mean, it's embarrassing, and there are some things as a coach and a tactician that where I did that I was like, I would never be seen doing that again, because I would talk the other fighter out of his fight while he's in the ring. I wouldn't do that now. I would. I'd be like, he ain't gonna. I
my,
mean, I'm a
my trainer,
yeah,
my trainer, Cyber Demon teams to do that. Like, hey, you know what we gonna do when he throw the right hand? We just waiting on him
yeah,
to throw the right.
yeah,
The dude be like,
so-
hold up, what y'all gonna do? Like,
yeah, yeah, and get in his head. Get in
yeah,
his head. I got bad. I got really bad with it though, because I got really good with it. So I got really bad. But you do the right things. We did the right things in camp. You really just want your fighter to know that you got his back and to take advantage of what he see the fighter, how he sees the fighter responding. But it's almost like in Seattle, they got the 12th man. You know what I'm saying? That
yeah,
crowd, it's
yeah,
almost that. But I wouldn't do that now. I just and you just understand you got the map. You got the system. You don't have to do that. You got the system. Just follow the yellow brick road and that'll guide you through the championship. So,
yeah,
but I do think there are things that I hope Devin Haney understands about going up in weight when you're fighting a guy who's happy there, who's been there, and who's been knocking dudes out there. And he's been doing it fashionably. And he had his bad fight, the last fight. So it's unlikely that he's going to have another bad night, especially when you been really rubbing it in his face. And he ain't he got pride, but this is a good one. And I think Ryan Garcia last week. I got to give Ryan Garcia at least 5 minutes because that was to me was funny. Him transferring in the ring and deciding to get on his back feet and circle. Now I gotta get on the all my Mexican brothers who are on my page. I don't care who you are right now. He running. Floyd run. De La Hoya fought Trinidad. He ran. Like you always talk about these guys running. Man, footwork is a part of the game, and it wasn't easy for him to take off and start moving. He was looking horrible doing it. I was like, man, this is going to end bad. I was like, this is going to end bad because your
yeah,
boy was
yeah,
bringing the smoke
yeah. He
to
was.
Ryan. He was bringing that smoke. Ryan was popping. Ryan one of the hardest punches in boxing too. I got to give him
Yes,
credit. But I
a long whip.
respected him. Yeah, I respected that he was able to get on his bicycle and change the looks and then set your boy up over the course of rounds. So all of my Mexican guys who always talk about boxers running, man, you don't run because you're scared. You run to change the looks and create
Yes.
enough space to cap them. And so it's not about, I ain't taking off running, but well, you guys say what you want to say out there. I know you wait for that kind of thing to happen, but Ryan, he can deal with mostly anybody now because that was the
Yeah.
beginning. What you think about the fight when you saw him?
I thought that he obviously is showing some new wrinkles. He, like you said, I mean, to tell the truth, he has the best attributes of all those guys in those
His
like
power,
two
yeah,
three weight classes. He's powerful.
yeah,
He's long. He's fast. He's
yeah,
in condition, and he has the mental capacity that he's willing to do anything to win.
yeah. He can sit
And with
down,
that,
yeah.
yeah. With that being said,
You,
but that him being a long whip like that, man, they don't understand how like when you got a guy that can touch you and he's that
yeah,
fast and speed is power, man.
yeah.
Whew, you know.
He
So
fast,
yeah.
yeah,
So when he finally gets everything, I would say he's probably like about 2 years away from like, but like when they better get him now.
Yeah,
They better get
yeah.
him now.
But
You know what I'm saying?
this is what I try to explain to my audience all the time, my coaches, about moving your fighter right. Make sure you get them the right fights. Don't
Hmm.
get them in there getting too cocky and thinking, you know, hey man, you can beat, don't get in there with a tank because these guys are also slippery. What you are learning, they know. So it is about experience with that stuff. They know how to set you up. It's a lot of guys that always try to copy their style. Everybody who Floyd fought was trying to copy what he was doing. That's why they couldn't do it as good, including Canelo. He learned
Hmm.
you can't beat the mirror because the mirror is going to beat you because
Mm.
the mirror is the actual reflection,
Yes,
and
sir.
you're just a silhouette right now. So you're just a silhouette. They know how to deal with power, they know how to deal with size, and they know how to deal with people who are just learning how to use footwork. It's a shame that the guy's been boxing for 20 years and he's just learning footwork. And but that I didn't call it what he did was the Philly shell. I call it the Philly can. He was like, I think I can.
Yeah,
The Philly can.
yeah, yeah.
I was like, man, what are you doing?
You got. I mean, you don't want to get in a situation where you're in the middle of a contest and you feel like you're practicing, but obviously he was showing some different things in camp, and
Yeah,
he had to get out there and do it, and look, at the end of the day, winning ugly is still winning, you know.
he wanna
So
no, but he said when he did that shell, Derrick James was like, man, what the hell you doing? You ain't Floyd. Don't do that shit no more. He said that I got that. I'm gonna restream that. I'm gonna restream that clip. That was funny. He bust out laughing too. He was like, "Man, what the hell you doing? You ain't Floyd."
and actually that folds right back into what the Regis and Devin Haney fight here, because
Yeah,
those guys are working their
yeah.
techniques and everything. But the thing that Regis has that
Hold up 1 second. You froze up. I like Regis in a lot of different little things, man. Am I willing to bet on him? No, I haven't seen a lot of Devin Haney doing something that gives me an alarm to bet against him. I just see it's not going to be what they think, but I know they train hard. I saw the stuff that they doing. They doing a lot of stuff in that water. I mean, on that sand. And if you can train in that sand, everybody, you can train your athletes in that sand, man. Ain't nothing that gets your bones and your legs denser, building that dexterity. It's better than lifting weights because there's so many more micro cells and just the dexterity of all of those limbs and your bones. They get all of that, and this hundreds of millions of just grains under your feet. So I would always choose to do that. But then he running uphill and racing. So that, I mean, he'll be right back in. But that is what creates that real difference in the way your body's conditioned. Plus, it's hot. And when you see these guys, when you go into that ring, that becomes real attrition. So if you are a coach right now and you are working with athletes and you really haven't given them exposure to that beach training or those mountains, you got to do it. We got to take our guys to the mountains back in North Carolina. And I mean, when you can get that Don Nelson, those guys, man, former Holyfield trainer, they got a stable up there. When you can get that kind of work, that's why people go to what do you call over there in Big Bear in California. That was Shane Mosley's, home away from home. That work, man, your heart and that altitude, your oxygen levels, what happens is the red blood cell increases exponentially because of lack of oxygen. So it has to produce more red blood cells. And once that red blood cell starts to reproduce, you got more oxygen. So on fight night, if you understand how to distribute your output, you will feel so strong in the second half of the fight if you understand how to use your output. A lot of guys, they go do that work. They think that work is going to be the reason that they are able to do it, but you got to know what you're doing. You got to understand how to use that conditioning, and how do you distribute your output and your work ethic is all of that. So that's it, man. I wanted to just give you guys some insight on that. Like I said, boxing has been adopted by the Amazon Prime. And so all pay-per-views, all major matches will be covered there. Plus, they're going to be covering the amazing stories. It's going to be mini series popping off. It's just going to bring such validity to our sport. So that's the news. Boxing is in another home going into 2024. So support the sport, continue to follow. And until next time, I see you guys post fight, because it's going to be a great night. And we may even host a Zoom fight party. If you guys are on board, keep it locked and listen, because we're going to be inviting a whole lot of people into this thing if we decide to do it. We're going to take a poll on the page tomorrow. And if we get at least 1,000 likes, we're going to host a fight watch party on Zoom. So that's all I got. Continue blessings out to our sponsors, Jab Juice, and all of my brothers in the school of boxing. If you guys are in the sport of boxing, make sure we know exactly where you are, where your gym's located, and continue to visit us over here at jabjuice.com. Until next time, continue blessings. I'm out. Coach Bradley in the building. See you soon. Woo! In the winner's circle. Peace.